Let me ask you a question, and this is serious. I want you to think about the answer. What stops you? What stops you from doing the trips or having the adventures or having the experiences that you want to? This is a serious question. What stops you? Look, this is not a video that I'm excited to make, but I think it's important to make. It scares me a little, but I want to know, like, what are the reasons that you don't do a trip that your brain says, I always wanted to do that? And I don't want it to be preachy or angry or accusatory, but I want you to think about what your answers are. I've been planning and taking trips for a long time, since arguably before the internet, when you had to go buy maps and you had to do research on paper and you didn't have things like Google Earth. And some of those trips were a weekend or a week or a month, and some of those trips went well, and some of those trips were unmitigated disasters. But what was consistent as I showed up back at work, after time off or a weekend, and someone said, what'd you do? And I would explain the trip that I just did. Invariably, I would hear the same responses from people. And I would hear things like, I always wanted to do that, or I always wished that I could do a trip like that. And the conversation would taper off or go wherever it went next, and I never really pursued it. And then one day, I did pursue it. I said to someone, why can't you? What keeps you from doing a trip like that? And I realized over the course of years of doing that with people, to find out what their reasons were, I realized I was getting the same answers. I can't tell you how many times I've heard that same sentence. I've always wanted to do that. And here are the things that people told me. They told me about what I call the I don't haves. I don't have the gear. I don't have the skills. Are two easy, quick ones. Skills are easy. If you're planning particularly a big trip, you work towards it and you build the skills that you need. You take the time to build skills, working towards a goal. And that gives you time to acquire the gear that you need. But here's the thing about the gear. Once you get the gear to do whatever it is you want to do, you have the gear to do it again and again and again. It's not a one-time investment. It's an investment in the future. I don't have the money is a big one, but think about the things that you spend money on that's pointless, right? When I bought my first dry suit, I did it by skipping the $4 cup of coffee every day at the place. And it took me about 6 months to save that money up. And I never went back. Money is easy. The thing is, it doesn't cost that much money to have experiences. Did you know that you can take a train from Grand Central Station in Manhattan to the Appalachian Trail? It's a relatively hour-and-a-half ride, very inexpensive train ticket. You're on a long trail. It doesn't take that much. And there are things like that all over the world. We spend a lot of money on things when we should be spending money on experiences. Stop spending money on things you don't need. Start spending money on experiences. Time is another big one. Time. I don't have the time. And time is so easy. Think about what we spend time doing, right? You work for 8 hours a day, you sleep for 8 hours a day. That leaves you 8 hours a day to play with time, right? And then think about the time that you spend, right, scrolling Facebook or Instagram. You need to get that time back. Time is easy. You've got the time. Another big one is it's scary. Something bad could happen. Scary is normal. Scary is good. Learning to analyze risk and mitigate risk is a skill, and we develop that skill by starting small and building on it. We start small, we build those skills, and at the same time we're learning about risk, we're learning about ourselves and where our comfort zone is, and build on our ability to step a little bit outside of that comfort zone, a little bit at a time. We find our limits, and slowly, carefully, we push them. We have been trained to think that facing a challenge is bad, that failure is bad. We learn from challenges and we learn from failures. That's growth. That's making us better, not only at things in the outdoors, but better at being us. It sounds corny, but failure builds greatness. You have got to fail before you succeed. I don't have permission is another one, and this is a good one. This one is real. Permission is a serious thing. Permission is real. Permission is a tough one, particularly for some people. And when I say permission, I'm talking about permission from work, family, spouse, partner, all that stuff. In 2009, I had been saying for probably a decade that I wanted to kayak the Inside Passage. But something changed in 2009. And I said to myself, if I don't do it now, I'm never going to do it. And so I talked to my wife about it and explained how important it was. And she essentially said, if it's that important to you, we'll figure out a way to make it happen. Before that trip, I was already doing big trips. I did trips with Knowles, I did trips on my own, but doing that trip opened a door. It made me realize that I could undertake a month-long expedition on the other side of the continent, unsupported, fully planned by me. I could do it. That trip ran beautifully, and that opened a door for me. It gave me a level of confidence that I did not have before, and I was back in Alaska, this time with friends, to photograph glaciers. We spent, 3 weeks kayaking Prince William Sound photographing glaciers. I couldn't have done that if I hadn't done the Inside Passage. I stockpiled vacation days, I squirreled away money, I took 6 weeks off, I made my way to Alaska, I drove because it was cheaper than flying, I brought my kayak so I didn't have to rent one. The trip itself really didn't cost that much, but I ended up doing 21 days of kayaking, 350 miles of Alaskan coast. Permission requires effort, and my wife gave me that permission because I made it understood how important it was. A lot of people say, oh, my work would never give me 6 weeks off to do a trip, and the easy answer is, have you asked? Have you stockpiled vacation days? Have you looked into doing a leave of absence? Have you threatened to quit? Threatening to quit will show them your dedication to doing what you want to do, and explain to them you will be better at your job when you come back because it will change you. They definitely don't want to hire someone new, particularly when you're going to come back a better person. Because that's what it's about. Experiences that push your skills and push your comfort level make you a better person. They teach you about you. They give you experiences that you will remember for a lifetime. Experiences that will shape the rest of your life. Experiences give you a gift unlike any material object. They give you a better version of you. Be a better you.